Hello, awesome chemists. We are going to talk about titrations today. And so I will show you how to set up a titration. So titrations are lab techniques where you use them to find the concentration of a certain substance that you have. And so usually we use them for acids and bases where we react them together. So let's say I have 25 milliliters of HCl in this flask, and I'm trying to find what is its concentration. So I can use a titration. I can titrate it with a base that I know the concentration of in order to find the concentration of my HCl. So to do a titration, you need a burette. This is what a burette looks like. It looks very similar to a very, very long graduated cylinder. So it's open from this side, and then on this side, this is called a stopcock. It's a stopper that opens up a valve, and so when it's parallel like this, it's open, so that means whatever liquid is in it is going to flow down. When you put it like this, where it's perpendicular, that means it's going to stop the liquid in here. So usually we put the base inside of the burette. So first you prep your burette by cleaning it with water. And so you put with a squirt bottle or something like that, or a pipette, you put a little bit of water in here, you move it around, and then you pour it out and let some out from here. That way you clean it with water. But if you do that, then there's some droplets of water that won't, come out, and that's going to change your calculations and your concentrations of the base that you put in here. It will be too dilute. So what you do then is you do the same thing, but with the base. You rinse it with the base. So you put, you can use a beaker to pour, or you can use a funnel, or you can use a pipette, but you pour a little bit of your base that you're going to use in here. You tilt it, move it around like this, let some out from your valve, and then dump the rest outside, and you do that a couple of times. So that way, whatever droplets are left here are of your base. So once you've prepped your burette, you're ready now to fill it up. And it doesn't matter how much you fill it up to, you just record whatever your initial volume is. I like to fill it up all the way to the top. That way it's just easier to monitor how much I've dispensed. And if you remember, a burette measures how much you've dispensed. So it's actually graduated the opposite of a graduated cylinder. So a graduated cylinder, you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. This one, the top is 0. And it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way to the bottom. This is a 50 milliliter burette, so at the very bottom, that's a 50. So as you open the valve and let some out, you actually measure how much was dispensed as opposed to how much was in there. So I have it all the way up here to 0. So that means I've dispensed 0 milliliters. And then to put this up, I guess I should have done this before I got my burette and filled it. This is a burette clamp, especially for a burette. So I'm going to put that on my ring stand here. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then this just opens up like this. And you can put your burette in there, and then you can adjust it to whatever height you want. So for my, when I need to read this, you want to be eye level with it. So because I'm short, what I do is I get it close to the side of the table, and I just like move this down so that I'm eye level with it, so I'm able to read the volume. So you initially read the volume, and it looks like it's 0.00. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly that. It could be any volume. You just record down the initial volume. So now my burette is filled with the base, and I chose NaOH as my base, and I chose one that I know the concentration of. So this was 10th molar, 0.100 molar NaOH. So if your unknown is an acid, you want to use a base that you know the concentration of. So I know the concentration of my NaOH. Next, what you want to do is you take your acid and you want to add an indicator in here. And that will tell you how much base to add to it until you are done. So I'm going to use phenolphthalein. If you remember, phenolphthalein is colorless in an acid and in a neutral solution, but it's pink in a base. And what you do is, so you want to adjust this, move it up a little bit so that put this under. And what you want to do is you want to dispense your base from your burette very slowly until the color of the indicator just starts changing. And so for universal indicator, or sorry, I'm sorry, for phenolphthalein, it goes from colorless to pink. So you want like the slightest hint of pink. We call that the kiss of pink. You want it very, very faint pink. And one of the tips to do that is you put a white paper underneath so you can detect the color of the pink. Again, the lighter the pink is, the better. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of paper real quick. There we go. And I'm going to put it underneath. That way I can see the slightest hint of pink as soon as it shows up. If you go over, then it turns like into this bright fuchsia, like we saw in the indicator study. So what you want to do is ideally you want to do this drop by drop. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, but as soon as I add a little bit, it turns pink and then it disappears. That's because the base is being added and it hits, so there's a tiny spot that has a lot of base, so it's pink, but then once it starts reacting with the acid, that pink disappears. So you want to do this kind of slowly, and you swirl at the same time that you add. If you are able to swirl fast enough that the pink disappears right away, then you go for that. If not, then you need to like actually manually do it where you add a drop, stop it, add a drop, stop it. So I'm right now, if you can see, it's literally going drop by drop. And I swirl in between, that way I can stop it right when it turns slightly pink. And again, you want to keep swirling. Now this takes a really long time to do if you literally do it drop by drop, because let's say you need 30 milliliters and it's going drop by drop. So what you can do is you can do a very fast first trial. So it's going to go over, of course, and it's going to be fuchsia, but you get kind of like an idea. So let's say turn fuchsia at 30 mils. So then the next time you do it, you can do 25 mils really fast. And then once you get to 25, then you can do it drop by drop until you get the kiss of pink. Keep going. And you'll see that the closer you get, the more the pink will linger. And it's going to take you longer to get the pink to disappear. You can see that at first, every time I added a drop, I was able to swirl it fast enough, but now it's kind of lingering a little bit. That's a sign that you are getting close, but don't get tempted and add too much. You're gonna still have to do it drop by drop. You can see again, the pink lingering a little bit, but then it disappears. So the key is you want to do this until you see a hint of pink and it stays 30 seconds with swirling. If it disappears after 30 seconds, I think it disappeared. But we're very close. If it disappears, then that means you need to add. So there we go, I think. If you're not sure if this is a pink color or not, like if it's a super faint color and you're not sure, what you do is you add one more drop. And if it turns fuchsia, then that means that the previous drop was good. So you should have recorded the volume. So you record the volume and you add one more drop and see what happens. If it continues to be pale, then you're obviously still good. It was not. So I think this is a hint of pink right here. I'll add one more drop to just double check. Can you guys see that that's, oh, no, it's weird. So that's definitely pink. It might be, you can tell that that's a pink color. So then what we do, that's a pretty good faint pink, and it's lasting 30 seconds. And that's why I need the paper underneath, so you can tell that that is a pink color. So then what you do is you record the volume that's in your burette. So again, you want to be eye level with it, like that. So again, because I'm short, I move it a little bit down so I can see, and it looks like it's 8.35 milliliters. So I started out at 0.00 and now I'm at 8.35 milliliters. So you record that down. Again, if you're in doubt, if you're not sure that that was a pink color or not, what you could do is you could add one more drop. And if you look, I added one more drop and it turned a fuchsia, bright fuchsia color. When you're not sure if it's pink or not, record the volume, add one more drop and see if it turned bright fuchsia. That means the previous volume was correct. If it stayed pale, then you know you're still going. So I want to show you now how you would use that to actually do a calculation to figure out what the concentration is. So let's see, go ahead and share a whiteboard. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to write down your equation. So we have HCl. HCl reacting with NaOH. And the products, remember this is neutralization, which is a type of double replacement. You get water and NaCl, and then you balance it. This one is already balanced for us. We know that we started out with 25 milliliters of this, but we don't know what the concentration is. We want to know the molarity. Molarity is the same thing as moles per liter, right? The NaOH, we know that we started with 0.00 and we ended up with 8.35 mils. So that means we've dispensed, if you subtract the two, 8.35 milliliters. And I know that this is 0.100 molar. So what you would do, like any stoic problem, is you would want to find the molarity of the substance that you have information about. So this one, I'm sorry, not the molarity, the moles. So you want to find the moles of the NaOH, then go to moles of the acid that you're trying to find, and then to the concentration. So let's see how we're going to do that. So I'm going to start by finding the moles of the NaOH. So I know that I have 0.0835 liters of NaOH. And I'm going to put liters on the bottom, moles on top. And I know that this is 0.100 moles per 1 liter. This means 0.100 moles per liter. So now I'm at moles of NaOH. Now I'm going to go from moles of NaOH to moles of HCl. And I do that by looking at the molar ratio, which is right here. In this case, it's just a 1-to-1. And so that's going to get me moles of HCl. Once I'm at moles of HCl, I take whatever my answer is, moles of HCl divided by the volume of HCl, which is 0.025 liters. Oh, I'm sorry. This was 0.0035. There we go. This will give me moles per liter, which is the molarity. And that's how you would solve for the molarity of my unknown, which was the HCl. All right, hope this helps. Have a great and wonderful rest of your day. Bye.